welcome everybody. Let's talk real estate, your weekly BS with Barry Saywitz about the current commercial real estate market here in Southern California. As we take a no BS look at both sides of the issues driving this market today to find the best solutions going forward. With our man right in the middle, it's Barry Saywitz. Hey, Barry.
Hey, good morning, Paul, and good morning to all of our viewers and our listeners out there. If it's Tuesday, we are talking real estate, and it is Tuesday. I am Barry Saywitz, president of the Saywitz Company, managing partner of Saywitz Properties, and we are back for another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. And so before we get going, I want to give a big shout out to all of the landscapers and the air conditioning folks out there while it's hot here in Southern California. Landscapers keeping everything looking nice, and the air conditioning guys fixing my AC when it broke, so I appreciate that. So with that said, I'm excited about today's show. We are continuing our dive into South Orange County, and I'm excited to have our guest, Chris Duncan, mayor of the city of San Clemente, city I'm very fond of, a beautiful city. Chris, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Barry. Yeah, glad to be here.
So we've had other leaders from other cities in South Orange County. San Clemente, the furthest south city, for those who don't know, in Orange County. And historically, great surf spot, great beach community, bedroom community, but really over the years has grown into much more than that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're way at the bottom of the county, like you say, a little off the beaten path. We kind of like that, like to do our own thing, if you know anything about San Clemente. But yeah, we've developed into quite a destination spot, and that's been something over time that you've seen the investment from businesses in our community, and the property values go up, and people just realize it's a great place. I know that's what we realized, my wife and I, and that's what brought us there. Great place to raise a family, very comfortable environment, very safe, and a lot of things to do outside.
Yeah, and I think also the migration of people working from home during COVID gave them the ability to move to cities in South Orange County and not having to worry about commuting back up to the airport area or other business sort of hubs, and really then caused the housing prices to run up and make it just a nicer, more valuable place to live.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've seen. A lot of people in the tech industry that now realize they can live wherever they want, and that was kind of something that COVID brought, I guess, unexpectedly. So we see a lot of people that live and work from home, and they're out and about playing golf all day and carrying on their businesses. So it's a perfect place to do that. Used to be that, hey, you had to be close to San Diego or LA, right? So it was a little far away from both of those. It's kind of right in the middle. Now it doesn't matter that you're far away. So it's we've seen that influx of folks from other places that want to live that great lifestyle we have in San Clemente. I know that's why we're there, and I get to enjoy that as well. And I'm always wondering, like, who are these people playing golf all day? Like at the Talega course, they're people that have their own businesses, and they just can adjust their own schedule. So why not live in a beautiful place like San Clemente where you can take advantage of that?
Yeah, and we own a building in San Clemente, and we've owned for several years, and it's worked out very well for us. And what I've always found interesting is that the tenants in our building are all people who live close to the building, and the reason that they're in there, the owners of the businesses, is because it's close proximity, and their client base for the most part is in that community. And so I think as the community and the residential has grown and people have migrated to San Clemente and South Orange County in general, you now have these smaller mom and pop businesses that have popped up as well to service the needs in the community.
Yeah, it's a great point. I like to think of us as kind of a small business hub. A lot of our friends in our community, and I live up in the Talega neighborhood, are people that have small businesses, right? So on the city council, and I know as mayor, we keep that front of mind. What can we do to support our small businesses, make life easier for them, so that they can flourish in San Clemente? Not in between two metropolises, but a great place to be, and a bustling business town. Actually, we've got a lot going on. Another thing that came out of COVID, we had the outdoor dining, right? So our Del Mar downtown area really exploded into a place people want to go and hang out, where you can be outside, look down at the ocean, walk down to the beach and the pier. So that was something that kind of came out of that time, as well as making our businesses, being able to leverage everything that we have to offer. And I think that's been a real benefit to our businesses, and also just the larger community of small business owners who want to live and operate in San Clemente.
Yeah, I want to come back to that, but I want to rewind for a second, and I want to go back on your own personal sort of journey. I guess let's go back. You were with the government for extended period of time. I guess talk to us about how you got involved with the government, and then how did you make that transition into the city?
Yeah. I'll give you the quick version. I know you had Howard Hart, my buddy Howard Hart from San Juan, also worked for Homeland Security
Yes,
like
he
I
did.
did.
Yes, he did.
So I got involved. I was getting a graduate law degree at Georgetown. My great uncle was a United States Senator from Montana. Living with him, getting my graduate degree, trying to figure out where I was going to go. I went to law school in Hawaii, right? So it wasn't a huge market for lawyers coming out of Hawaii, at that time. And so I was bolstering up the resume. And then 9/11 happened. Changed my life. I was inspired, like so many others, out of a sense of patriotism to defend the country, protect our communities, and that you wanted to get involved. So they were looking for attorneys. And so it was a good opportunity for me. I was interested in kind of trans-border issues, international business issues. So it really fit that way. So I put in, and I got selected, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to Miami or New York. I'm going to some big port town. I'm getting my white suit ready, my fluorescent shirt. I'm going to enjoy it. And they were like, okay, your choices are Detroit or El Paso, Texas.
Good ones.
I was in with Customs and Border Protection, right? So you're going to be on the border. So chose El Paso. It was a little warmer. It was great choice, actually, because I got to see those border issues front and center, be a part of that. That's on so many people's minds these days. So I could ask, or I can answer questions about that too. But so really serving my country, working with armed law enforcement officers every day and national security professionals to defend the country, really rewarding experience. We were the attorneys who came in and helped develop operational plans, defend use of force cases, really answer any legal questions they had. We were like generalists. So it was super fun, different something every day. I'm on the Wild West in El Paso, tip of the spear, working with the Border Patrol. So that was really a great experience. And every couple of years, like we were saying, they'd move our family and a government move, and we're moving here, we're moving there, always in a border area, but be it a seaport or a land border port. And I met my wife at one point. She was set up on a date with my younger, taller, richer, better-looking little brother, but he bombed out, and I swooped in, Barry, and
does he hold that against you, or he's okay with it?
He's okay with it. Yeah, he's okay with it, but it took a little while. But he's all married himself with kids, but makes the family get-togethers kind of interesting. But yeah, so that was kind of fun. Met her in San Diego, and then we were moving around a lot, and along the way we fell in love with San Clemente. We were living in Carlsbad, actually, in North County, San Diego. And so when I finally left the government, and the reason I did that was, when you're in the government, it's very rewarding, and you are part of a large organization that I think is doing good things, right? Or at least should be doing good things. And I'm really proud of what we did. I mean, we prevented a terrorist attack. None of them happened in my 16 years I was there, and I was a supervisor at the end. But, a lot of it was encouragement from my wife, actually. She said, you shouldn't just be advising the decision makers, Chris. You should be a decision maker. You've got good things to say. You're in touch with what I think most people are thinking. We need people like that in political office. And, as Howard might have said, you can't run for political office if you're a government employee in a partisan office, at least. So I made that switch, left the government really hard because I considered myself kind of a lifer. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me there too, right? Make that transition and then run for political office, get involved in my community and help really protect my community, right? I had been working to protect our country at the borders. Now I can work as an elected official to improve and protect our own neighborhoods, and it's incredibly rewarding. So that was kind of my journey over about 20 years to get where I am.
And so then you get elected to the city council in San Clemente, and then for those of our viewers out there who are not familiar how it works, either some cities the mayor is an elected official by the public, or it's appointed by the city council from within, and yours is the latter of the two, I understand.
Yeah, well, getting in elected, I had been a prosecutor in the Southern District of California too. That's a winner in San Clemente, right? It's a very pro-military, very pro law enforcement town. So that was my ballot designation, and people jumped in. Was fortunate enough to get elected. Start in as a regular council member. Yeah, and then like most South Orange County cities, we on the council, usually 5 members, appoint every year a new mayor, and usually it rotates through. I don't think there's ever been somebody that's been sort of more than 1 year in a row. And I was mayor pro tem last year, and then fortunate enough to have my fellow council members vote me in as mayor for this very eventful year in San Clemente with a lot going on, landslides, fights with the Marines, and other things that have been going on. It's been a interesting year to be the mayor.
Yeah, well, and look, the past several years, even with all the COVID stuff, and having the city council try and deal with that, And there's always something new. And next year we got an election year, and
Right.
we'll see what all of that
Always a
brings.
new challenge.
But I guess I would say, look, as a property owner in the city of San Clemente, I appreciate all the things that you and the other city council members are doing to try and promote the city, make it a better place to live and to work, and for people to want to be. And I think at the end of the day, if you do that, then that all relates back to property values and desirability of the community.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to touch on that and some of the state laws that I think may not align with those principles that I agree with. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I wanted to focus on, my wife Haley's the entrepreneur, she's the real estate broker. But I've been active with our Chamber of Commerce, active with our Downtown Business Association. I really believe encouraging that kind of economic activity is the best way to put our community forward, right? Not some of these mandates or things that come down from the state, but that sort of organic economic activity that lifts everyone up in our communities. That's something I've been working for every time, I think about those principles when I vote on things at the city council.
And I think that's a common theme for a lot of cities in Orange County, right? Nobody wants to be told what to do by someone else. And part of it's a free market kind of a thing. And part of it is there is a sentiment within the general population of the community as to what direction they want, whether it's high-rise development or not.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we're a community that likes to do our own thing. And at the same time, we're known as that Spanish village by the sea, right? So we need to balance whatever's going on with keeping that culture, keeping that beach culture, keeping that small town feel. And I think we've been very effective in doing that in the time that I've been on council, working together as a council, with a little bit of chaos every once in a while, but that's what happens when you get 5 people with different opinions together. But I think we've been able to work to put some programs in place, streamlining our permit system, really encouraging our staff to be yes first instead of no first, changing that culture that has made it a more business-friendly environment in San Clemente.
And so is it more of a yes first now, or is that still a work in progress, or it's ongoing?
I think it's a work in progress, but I've already seen the results. So we have a new city manager. Andy Hall came up from Imperial Beach, so he was from outside the area, a new city attorney. And that kind of leadership, if anybody knows how the council manager, system works, really the city manager does the everyday operational work.
Right,
and the city takes policy direction from the city council. But we, as a group, have laid down that we want to see that, and he's the perfect person for the job because that's his MO. But that doesn't change overnight, right? Because there's a certain cultures that are built into our organizations, and it takes a little while to work through that. But I can tell you, we have an absolutely incredible staff, just terrific people who are really largely responsible for making San Clemente so great. They thirst for that kind of leadership. They've actually, I think, embraced the ability to be more creative, the ability to kind of think of ways of making things happen instead of, some of it's the incentive structure, instead of the incentive being, okay, no, it's better if we just sort of shut people down and send them away. Right. Now, okay, well, you can't do it that way, but here's a way you might be able to do it. Let's talk about that. And I think that we've already seen those results.
Yeah, and I think in the long run, that's a positive step, and will come back tenfold in terms of just the development of the community and the goodwill and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. It's once the word gets out, then it can only help us. In fact, I think it's helped us already. We've got new businesses coming in, new restaurants on Del Mar, like Rare Society, terrific steakhouse. If you want to come down and really enjoy a great experience there, Zove's is coming in. So I've seen already an infusion of new energy into our downtown and our larger business community, I think, because of our change of perspective, making it a little more welcoming.
So I want to touch on, I guess, public safety and then also homelessness, because I know those are two big hot buttons, not only statewide and with other cities within the county, but also for San Clemente as well. It's been sort of an ongoing, topic of conversation.
Yeah, I can speak to that because I was a prosecutor at the federal level, because I was in Homeland Security. And so nothing more important than keeping our communities safe.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
We can't thrive, we can't live our fullest life, businesses can't flourish if people don't feel safe. So that's been a huge focus. In fact, it's probably my number one focus. Working with our sheriff's department, like so many of our cities down there, we contract with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. So we have a chief of police services who's a captain in the sheriff's department. Now we have a captain from San Clemente, so that's great. It's a neighbor of mine. Making sure that they have the resources necessary to patrol our area effectively. We're a very busy city. I mean, people should realize that. When you're a beach city, when you have a lot of areas for people to hang out, it attracts a certain element who wants to hang out and potentially violate a lot of laws and ordinances. And it's difficult because we have to marshal the law enforcement resources to constantly be responding to that all throughout our city. Hilly city, so they're always running, our sheriff's deputies, if you do a ride-along, they're running all over the city all the time. So I wanted to make sure they had the resources. Part of that was they said, hey, we could use more deputies. I said, okay, let's do it. So we got them 4 more deputies to be a beach patrol those beach areas, particularly in the summertime when you get more activity. The council also passed, a decision to hire private security that can focus on our hotspots as well. So we've been really leaning in and proactive here. And I like to think responsive to the residents because they've been asking for that, right? Yeah. And it's up to us to be responsive like that and deliver those resources to make sure that people feel safe. They can walk on our beach trail. They can go out at night. They don't have to have someone with them. And so it was disappointing when people came to us and said, "Hey, I'm not feeling safe." So we responded to it right away and got them more deputies and got them security. So we've seen improvements already in that area.
It's good to hear. And we had the Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes on, and we were talking about the homeless situation, which is statewide, which is countywide, which is city to city, and obviously in an attractive city that's near the beach. I mean, right. If I was gonna be homeless, I would be in San Clemente or something like it. It's a good place to be.
You wouldn't be alone.
Right. And so that creates an ongoing issue as well in terms of how do you deal with that and how do you get those people the help that they need and get them off the streets and not impacting other people within the community. And I think that's just an ongoing challenge, although I've seen since we've owned our property in San Clemente, it has gotten better.
Yeah, Don's a good friend of mine. We go way back, and a lot of respect for the sheriff. He would tell you San Clemente is probably the busiest city in Orange County, at least in South Orange County, in terms of their activity, right? And they also have to work within the confines of the law, right? And there's a lot of times where people want them to do something, but that's beyond their authority. They're not going to do that. Homelessness is a regional issue. It's not city by city. The idea that every city should devise a little fix that just works for its city, that's not going to address the larger problem, right? And the state needs to really address the larger problem. It's more than even regional. It's a statewide issue.
No question.
And so when you talk about programs that just sort of move the problem from one area to another or provide housing without dealing with the underlying issues that people are having, it's not going to work long term, right? So those simple fixes, those expensive fixes sometimes that sort of sound good, they don't actually get to the root cause of the problem. So we know what the root cause is. It's mental health, it's substance abuse. We've got to get those people into programs that deal with that and not just kick the can down the road by putting them up in a few weeks of shelter. Now they need to be in a shelter area to address those, but we can't do it alone as San Clemente. So I am talking to Howard Hart. I'm talking to our friends in Dana Point, Mike Frost over there, the mayor there. If you haven't talked to him, great guy too, to try and see if we can come together to find something that kind of works for our whole area.
And I know San Clemente has been a challenge for a long time in terms of if you were going to either build or develop either a homeless shelter or a mental health treatment facility, where do you put it? How does that go, right?
No community wants to host that.
Right, and the state's pushing, and then everybody's pushing back, and I don't really want it in my backyard. Right?
Well, and we have a case law, in the Ninth Circuit, Martin versus Boise, that lays out some, not particularly clear, but, a standard that we have to operate in. We can't enforce essentially our anti-camping ordinances unless you have shelter beds available for a certain percentage of the population. That's really not defined, though. So that's another one of these laws that sort of imposed on our communities that we get to deal with it in an unfunded way. So I think we will come together and make some meaningful progress in the homeless area, though. I think we'll find an answer, be that a regional or some other way to respond to this, where we will be able to give our deputies the enforcement ability to act, when people are violating our laws, which we really don't have now. Yeah. So we do need to do that. But the idea that San Clemente would just do its own thing and that's just short-sighted thinking. That's not going to solve the larger problem. We need help from our friends. We need help from the state. We need help from the county. My good friend Katrina Foley. Hopefully,
who's also been on the show.
Katrina's great. But we just like so many things we have with Casa Romanica sliding down the hill and other issues, we can't do it on our own. And I think we all realize that. And so as a mayor, I'm trying to be a leader in that respect, reaching out, finding friends who can come together with us to solve these problems.
Yeah. So, what are some of the issues that homeless? We could talk all day and go deep, but we won't. But what are some of the other issues? What are some of the other issues that on the city council that you guys are looking at? I mean, street improvement, beautification, traffic. Those are all things I think that each city deals with. But what are some of the hot buttons you guys are trying to tackle at the moment?
Well, I think the largest issue, and it's very economic, is our coastal erosion issue, right? So we did have 2 landslides, including one with the historic Casa Romanica, but one a private residence with a lot of residents there that got that had to leave their properties, and we had to find a way to take care of them. And I still think about them. They're back in their residences. But imagine if you just got kicked out of your home and you couldn't be there for weeks on end. And now we have our historical building, Casa Romanica, where the founder of San Clemente, Ole Hansen, lived, and we've made a big investment to fix that. But we also have dwindling sand at our beaches. The reason I say it's an economic issue is the tourism is what drives our economy. That's really what makes all of our business thrive, getting those folks in, spending money in our community. And so we are working on, we have a big sand replenishment project coming with Congressman Levin. Later this year, we're working on things that we can do to shore up our bluffs so that we don't have further erosion there. I think those are top of mind for most of us, that we realize we've got to protect our beaches. We've got to make sure we have sand on our beaches. That's A1A of our policies right there. We have to do that, and Supervisor Foley's working on that with us as well. And then, really sort of similar to that, another quality of life issue, and affects the business community, is we want to make that really big investment, like you said, into maintenance and cleanliness. I was talking about it with City Manager Andy Hall the other day. Sometimes those smaller things, where there's a little bulb out on Del Mar and it's dirty because kids ate ice cream there and all the ice cream drips out and goes everywhere and gets all sticky. People notice that sometimes more than the bigger things. So we want to organize a strike team of maintenance workers and others who can respond to those spots, keep that area clean, keep our flower baskets that hang above Del Mar clean. When people come to a business community, they want to feel comfortable, right? And so it's up to us as the city to encourage that. And so we're working on different strategies to accomplish that. North Beach, where we've had a homeless problem, where we've had, I think, a lack of economic activity in recent past. We want to get things going there. So we have a placemaking program there where we want to drive more business activity and clean it up and make that an enjoyable place for people to go to the beach again. And I was really happy to see over the weekend, I took the train actually down to San Diego, and there were people out at the beach. And that was awesome to see that people are back at North Beach. But we need to get more business activity there that will have downstream effects on public safety and other things, right? If you have that economic activity.
And really, look, as a property owner, first impressions are everything, right? Sure. So you walk up and down the street in a city, or you walk up to a property, you're thinking about renting an apartment or a commercial space, and if the sidewalk's filthy, or there's cigarette butts down, or the flowers are all dead, those are things that people recognize. And so, I know that the city's done other things with creating bike lanes and sidewalks and street improvement. And so to me, those are all financial investments that come right back to you.
Yeah, it's a broken window theory too, right, Barry? So, when you have kind of blight somewhere, it attracts more blight, right? And so you have to kind of nip it in the bud right away. One of the things I think about too is we have our businesses up in the T-zone. That's an area where you get more activity than other parts. The T-zone is right where El Camino Real hits Avenida Del Mar, where you go down to the pier. That's where we have a particular issue. And I think about those business owners, and I meet with them frequently, and we want to really make a big impact for them. And that's where the strike force is going to come in. Very responsive. Right away, we get in there and we address that issue. We clean that, whatever mess that is going on, or we make sure that there's a person there that's badgering people, that they get addressed. Yeah. We have to get on that right away. We can't let that stuff linger, or it will kind of have that domino effect. So that is a program that the city manager's starting at my direction, and we'll be rolling that out very soon, I hope. And that, I think people will see immediate difference there as well.
Good. And parking and traffic always an issue, especially by the beach. Are there things that the city is looking at to either create more public parking or deal with, I mean, just the congestion, especially in summertime? There's not much you can do about it, but I see a lot of golf carts down in San Clemente cruising around to sort of beat the whole traffic thing.
Hopefully no underage people driving those.
Right, and hopefully they're buckled up and being safe. But certainly the parking is an issue everywhere. Is there anything that can be done or that you're looking at to address it or create more opportunities?
Definitely. That's a huge issue. And of course the e-bikes as well, right? The sort of e-bike explosion in San Clemente. Great place for e-bikes because we all have these hills, and that helps people get around. So we do encourage e-bike use, but we want to get a program in place where people will be safe. I think there'll be some programs coming out along that way. I think the best program we have to address parking and traffic is our trolley program, which we've
that was my next question.
We spend a lot of time and money encouraging, right? So we added a green line that goes to South San Clemente now, which has traditionally been underserved. It gets people at State Beach and brings them to downtown. We're going to use that with the World Surf League finals that are coming up in September. We're going to have a special spur that goes there so that people can don't have to kind of try and find a way to park or flood the beach with e-bikes. They can get dropped off right at the trailhead and walk down. So these are things we're leaning into in terms of making sure people can move around the city without driving everywhere. And that would be the goal. And what we see is actually we have probably more activity on our trolleys than any city. Like, nothing against Laguna Beach, Dana Point, San Juan, or whatever, but like come watch our trolleys. They're packed. We actually need more. But we haven't gotten the funding, frankly, from the Orange County Transportation Authority that I think we need, and we'll be asking for more money so we can expand that further because they're very successful. That's how you can get around the city almost anywhere. A lot of older folks use it as well, all free, and this is a huge benefit to our
much
businesses.
Better than waiting for an Uber or trying to drive yourself
Sure.
around. I mean, for sure. So we only have a little bit of time, but I want to touch on a couple other things. In terms of your own political aspirations and next steps for you, your hat is back in the ring on the state level, or what is the game plan for Chris Duncan going forward? If there is one.
There's always
people
a game
ask
plan.
me and I go, I don't have a plan. I just wake up and do my thing.
Wake up every day and try and figure it out. Yeah, there is some of that. I love serving my community, and I like making a positive difference. That's why I'm doing this, right? I didn't do this for a title. I didn't do this for any other reason other than I think I can be a benefit. And I think I kind of can relate to people, right? I'm an everyday guy. I do adventure guides with my kids, camp, take them to practice, barbecue in the backyard, drive an F-150. So regular dude. And I think we see in political office less and less, I think, people that we can relate to and that we feel are fairly nonpartisan or just trying to get things done. That's what I did at Homeland Security. That's what I'm trying to do as mayor. And so I'm running for state assembly in District 74, which is South Orange County. Really, it's 4 cities in Orange County: Laguna Niguel, San Juan, Dana Point, San Clemente, and then it goes over the county line all through Camp Pendleton, which I think is really cool because we're a Marine Corps town.
Sure.
You get Semper Fi there. We get our 2-4 adopted battalion in San Clemente. And so you have all of Camp Pendleton, Oceanside, and Vista. So it's really 50% in Orange County, 50% in San Diego County. Beautiful coastal district, some of the best coastline in the world, frankly. Some of the best surfing in the world. And the reason I run there is I'm disappointed that I don't think have gotten the representation at the state level that really advances our interests. We're sort of left behind. I mentioned the coastal erosion issue. There's money at the state level that can come in and help that. We don't get any of that money. We're a tax donor. We send money to Sacramento and it goes to San Francisco and LA. We don't have somebody in place representing our district that can deliver those funds and set our priorities up there, and I think I can. So that's really the main reason for running is making sure that we get to have a seat at the table in Sacramento, which we haven't had really in quite a long time, if ever. And so, throw my hat in the ring. For District 74. We're a little ways out. It's November 2024, but that'll be on us before we know it. And so getting that campaign going too. So no shortage of free time for me,
right.
I guess. Well, actually, there is a shortage of free time. I have a lot going on because I have my practice too in law that I'm doing as well. But our community deserves someone fighting for it in Sacramento who can deliver, and I know I can. And I think that's what I've been doing at the city. So. Looking forward to that campaign as it goes, and hopefully people can check me out at votechrisduncan.com and find out what my policy positions are and send me some constructive feedback if they want.
Good.
and follow that campaign as it goes forth. Really important campaign for State Assembly.
Yeah, and I wish you well with that. And as it gets closer and heats up closer to next year, we'll keep a close eye on it.
Sure.
In the meantime, in terms of if people want to find out more information about the city of San Clemente, what's the website for the city?
Yeah, it's san-clemente.org. We're trying to figure out the dash because that's kind of confusing, but that went in a long time ago. So that's the website. We are making improvements on the website, frankly. Barry, I don't think it's as public-facing and user-friendly as as it should be. That's a big thing for me, right? I mean, these days there's so much division out there, and I want people to know that they can trust their local officials at least to get things done for them, and that they have visibility about what we're doing, and they trust that we're working in their best interest, and we're being very responsive to their concerns. You know, that's what we've really done with a lot of these public safety issues. So that means having a better website, means having a better social media presence, and we're working on that. We're working with some private sector groups to see if they can kind of improve us in that area. But for now, yeah, you can go to the website. It's a little difficult to navigate. It will get improved in the near future. You can find out what we're talking about at our next city council meeting on August 15th, which will be a lot of interesting things, including districting, which so many of us are dealing with right now, which we could do a whole nother topic on that.
Right.
But yeah, so a lot of fun things going on as we wind down summer in San Clemente. It was another beautiful summer after a little bit of clouds and rain, right? Which is unusual.
It's here now, and the sun is out, so
it's
go
great.
to the beach.
It's great. Yeah, hit the beach in San Clemente, head to the pier, and come down and check out the World Surf League Finals when we host that. The biggest global surf competition in the world, most watched surf competition, and we're the city that hosts it. So looking forward to that in mid-September as well. But yeah, come down even before that. The water is 75. I was in there yesterday, Barry. That's why I got this nice glow going. It is incredibly comfortable, borderline Hawaii right now, and I think we have the best beaches in Orange County.
There's no question. San Clemente is a hot spot to be, and a place that should be visited and seen by everybody. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts and input. And like I said, I appreciate all that you're doing for the community. Keep up the good fight. And glad to hear that the city is progressive and proactive in terms of trying to make it continue to make it a better place to live and to work. So thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it. So for all of our folks out there, I am Barry Saywitz, president of the Saywitz Company. I want to shout out and give a thanks to Paul and all the folks here at OC Talk Radio for putting the show on, Sophia, our producer, and everybody who goes into making the show happen. If it's Tuesday, we're talking real estate. We will see you back here next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for having me.
Well, there you have it. You've been listening to Let's Talk Real Estate, your weekly BS with Barry Saywitz about the current state of the real commercial real estate market right here in Southern California. On Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studio here at the University of California Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.